aim to spread the knowledge of fun of optics to as many people as we can. Today, we'll bring you some very cool demonstrations that will show you more about the nature of color and light and how scientists have used these principles for some really important inventions. Well, first, let's talk about colors, and that's why we can see things. So the things that we see normally can be divided into two categories: the items that glow by their own and items that reflect. And for example, when we see the sun or the light bubble, they spontaneously emit light such that we can see it directly. But actually, for the majority of the things that we see, they don't naturally provide any light. So what happens is we have the sunlight that scatters onto these objects, like pretty much everything else that you see, and then these light gets reflected and your eye collect those light, and that's why you can see them. So to show you basically some cool tricks about light, we're going to provide you with a little demonstration. Here I have two very pretty butterflies. So there's a yellow one and there's a blue one. If we take just a closer look, we can see that this yellow one looks kind of plain, while this blue one gives this really pretty, just glorious color. Now, to show exactly why are you seeing this, we're gonna show you basically how lights reflect off these surfaces and also how the light transmit directly through. So as we can see here, if I put a light on it, and the reason you can see color is light hits on these butterflies and they reflect into your eyes. That's why I can see all these pretty colors. Now, I'm gonna turn it to the opposite side and to show you what it looks like when we hit the light through. As you can see here, basically the yellow butterfly maintains its color and still very yellow, whereas if we do the same thing for this butterfly, you can see basically it turns brown. And in fact, this brown color is the natural color of the butterfly. And the only reason that you can see this really cool blue color is because these butterflies, on their wings, they have a very special and periodic mini structures, meaning it is not a flat surface, but instead it's got many almost grating-like structures. And among all the colors that it sees, it selectively reflects the blue light, and that's why you can see this kind of light as well. But keep in mind that naturally it looks like this. Whereas for the yellow one, it looks fairly consistent no matter how you shine light on it, and because the yellow light is its natural color, so there are pigments in the butterfly of this yellow one that made it yellow. Whereas for this one, it is because of its special surface structure and the selectiveness of its reflection of color. Alright, next we're going to talk about the nature of light. Now, we know lights are what we call electromagnetic waves. So essentially they are waves that are propagating in the air. And because it's nature of a wave, it can wave in any direction. It can go this way horizontally, or it can wave this way vertically. And the normal sunlight and most of the light we see are what we call unpolarized. So they can wave in any direction. And it is because that we know more about the nature of light that we can make better sunglasses. And we know many of the sunglasses that we hear nowadays are polarized sunglasses. And why are they more effective? Now, today we're gonna just show you just that. So what I hold here in my hand is what we call polarizer. Now, this is a filter. As you can see, there's an arrow here that will only let through light that waves in a certain direction. Now, you can see my hand is back here. If I put the filter here all the light that reflects off my hand and to your eye through this piece of polarizer, this plastic, is only waving in this direction. Now I have another one of these filters that also has an arrow on it. Now what if I put this filter on top of each other? Now, because they align in what kind of light they let through, so both of these filters will let through lights that are probably in this direction. However, if I turn this one 90 degrees, then we know that after the first filter, light will only propagate in this direction, and they will be blocked by the second filter, so you will see nothing through this. So to show you that, I'm going to show you a picture on my phone. So here, this is a cool lion. I'm going to put it behind one of these filters like that, so you can see it better. Let me turn off the light so you can see it better. Also put on my normal glasses. Alright, so you can see this photo very well after this filter. If I apply on a second one, you can see it just as well. Now, I'm gonna rotate one of these until they're 90 degrees apart, and check this out. When I'm at 90 degrees, the picture pretty much disappeared, and you can't really see it. Not until I tilt it back, then you see it. And the reason for that, as I explained, is because this photo, this iPhone that I'm putting here, it emits light, but the lights outside of this phone can oscillate at any direction. So after this first filter, all the light now is oscillating along this, so it's waving in this direction. Now if I apply the second filter, that will go 90 degrees off it. It will block everything out of here, as you can see. And if you rotate it, then you get your light back. So this shows you the nature of the light. It is a wave that can oscillate in any direction, and because we understand it, we can make some very cool inventions that will help us, like this polarized sunglasses. So the reason that the polarized sunglasses, so all these glasses you see here, they pretty much have the same principle as the filter that I hold here. So it is because when we are outside when it's really sunny, we can see a lot of glare, and glare oftentimes they oscillate in a certain direction. So the engineers have been able to create these sunglasses that will work 90 degrees off those light and can essentially block all those glare. And that's why when you wear these polarized sunglasses, they are more effective than just a darker inked glass. Actually, let's also try to apply the same trick here. So I have this photo again, and I'm going to put it behind the sunglasses, as you can see here, to verify that indeed the light coming through the glasses only work in a certain direction. I am going to use this one to block it. Now, you can see here that it is indeed very effective. If I align it through, this is where you can still see things with sunglasses. But if I do this, then they turn completely dark, so they can completely block the light. That's why you can still see things mostly, but you cannot see polarized light, like a lot of the glare that you see on the road. So to help you better feel the power of polarized sunglasses, we are gonna let you wear it to feel the power of it. So what I'm going to show you here is I have this phone and the filter. So this will mimic the kind of lights that you will see on the road. It can be either reflection of the car in front of you, or it could be glare off of water. So these lights are polarized. Now I'm just going to wear this pair of sunglasses for you. These are polarized. Now, as you can see here, when you wear sunglasses, you don't see the light, polarized light anymore, so you cannot see the picture. Now, I can show it's definitely there. Now you're not wearing glasses. I'm gonna put it on you again. You can see my hand, but you cannot see the photo. The photo is polarized. Let's try again. See it? You can't see it. Now my phone is off, so you can't see it. Let's turn it back on. Alright, there it is again. There's the photo. So here's the sunglasses for you. And you can see my finger, but not the photo. And now you see it. So you can see, this is how we have leveraged the nature of light to help us invent sunglasses like this to prevent glare while still letting you see things. Alright, so before we dive into the experiment that we highly encourage you to try, we have one more demonstration for you. This is a very important invention, but it is oftentimes ignored, and I assure you that you have this on almost all your cars and vehicles, and this is what we call Fresnel lens. It looks like this. So this is the piece of plastic that you have in front of your car's headlamp and back lamp and pretty much all the lamp. The reason we have this is a lens. So what is a lens? Actually, it is an optical object that we use to project light. Now, a typical lens looks like something very bulky. I don't have it in my home, but here I have my teapot that can largely mimic what a lens is. And if you see over the teapot to me, you can see the image of me, and it is very distorted, but this entire thing is a lens. Now let's show you how we use this for headlamps. Now let's say we have this flashlight and you have this in your car, but you want to use this car to project to a certain area on the road in front of you. And if you just shine light on the wall, you can see it's a very broad range. If we put a lens like this kind of bulky structure in front of it, then you can selectively project, see it better here, you can selectively project it in certain areas in front of you. However big or small, or in different areas. So this is what happens in the headlamp. You have your light source like this, then you have a lens, and you want to project it on the road. Now, imagine you have 20 of these teapots in your car. You don't see that, right? And the reason for that is scientists figure out why we can use this kind of lens structure and come up with a much more elegant solution. And it is this, the Fresnel lens. Now, this is very thin compared to the bulky structure that we have here, but believe it or not, they pretty much serve the same purpose. So let me just show you. Here I have this is called Fresnel lens, very thin. If I put it in front of the car, in front of this light, you can see that I can also selectively choose which area I project. I can do an even better job with a much smaller structure like this. And it is actually a lens. To prove that to you, I'm going to hold it in front of you. Again, you can see myself backwards on it. And I show you this is me and not just a picture on it. And the reason we can make it this thin is, let's say we take this bulky structure again. We know it is this curved structure at the front that matters. So we chop it into little pieces, get rid of all the bulk in between, and just smash it to a very thin structure like this. And this is how it is invented. And you can see it is quite powerful, and That's also why if you look at your car's lamps carefully, you can see this kind of little structures. Let me just take a closer look to you. This one has a little like ring structure on it. And you can see something very similar on your car. And it is because we can use this design to serve the same purpose as a bulky lens, but we save a ton of materials and volume. And this is another one of the great examples how we turn the knowledge and understanding of light and optics into an elegant solutions that we all use. So to start with, we'll have a empty water bottle made of plastic, and we're going to need one of these sticks to punch a hole in it like that, and we're going to need a temperature gun. Here's an infrared thermometer. You can also use any laser pointer you might have that will shoot out basically a laser beam, and then your initial setup is complete. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to fill this bottle with water, and you can see that there's basically this water beam that's shooting out. We're going to block that for now because we're counting on it for our next step. To set up our experiment, we're going to fill this bottle with water and put our thumb on the hole just to prevent it from leaking just yet. I'm going to turn off all the lights we can until it's total darkness, like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take out our laser pointer and shoot some light until we are hitting across the bottle directly onto the hole that we just punched, like that. And once we found the spot, we're just going to let go, and basically see what happens is the laser beam, instead of shooting straight, is following this water beam downward. So here, what happens here is the beam undergoes what we call internal reflection. So the beam hits this interface between the water and the air, and it bounces back in, it bounces back and forth in this beam. So what you can see here is basically a red flow that's going downward. And the scientists have been able to use the same principle to invent the optical fiber, where the beam goes what we call total internal reflection. So they can go through many bounces like this, and the light is able to propagate inside the optical fiber through a very long distance. And that's what essentially enables the modern internet through the overseas cable. And that's how we can transmit information from the US to a different continent within a matter of seconds using this principle that we're looking at right here. To better explain what we just saw with the laser beam and the water flow, we're going to use what we have. This is more scientific demonstration to show you exactly what happens. So normally when we have a laser beam, we know when we shoot it in any direction, it tends to go straight, like that. It will go through a straight line. But once, as you can see here, that we launch this beam gradually into this tube, we can see that basically the beam goes right through the tube along the line and exit through here. Let's try it again. Boom. And the reason for that is, again, what we called internal reflection. So the beam will bounce back and forth inside this tube that allows it to bend around this structure and shoot all the way out here. You might see some of this structure when you see a dentist and when they try to cure the material that I apply to a cavity. And this is using the same principle. And again, basically this is essentially what pretty much all the optical fibers look like. It's essentially a glass rod that is sealed in plastic coatings, and we can let the beam, let the light propagate inside this kind of structure for kilometers and even much longer. Alright, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned something new and interesting. We have many more projects that are ongoing right now. Please check it out at opticsumish.com. Have a wonderful summer.